A legless Indian beggar stows away on a flight to America. The unusual death of the man he used
attracts the FBI's attention. The agents embark on a case full of mysticism in a tale as old as time. This is not revenge.
Well, you want to talk about weird things in the X-Files. You never saw this coming.
No. Well, John Chabon, I guess, did. He decided that this was clearly a story that needed to be told. How would you say the title to this episode?
I always said Badlaa. I don't know if that's accurate. I'm not Indian.
Me neither.
So I don't really know exactly. No disrespect, but I have no idea. I know it means revenge.
Well, or it could mean a suit in Arabic. Either
or
term,
a suit.
Either term works. Yeah. So to episode 10 of season 8, Badlaa, written by John Chabon, directed by Tony Warmby. We've seen Tony do a couple of other shows for us in this season and others. But yeah, another monster of the week. It gets a lot of flack, this one.
Does it?
Yeah, it's not universally loved. It's a bit of a weird one.
A bit of a weird one? Understatement, sir.
Okay, well, look. John Chabon originally had the idea that the bad guy would enter people's bodies by shrinking and walking into their brain, like through their ears. And I think that would have been better than what they actually went with. I mean, no disrespect. It makes for a more interesting,
entertaining
approach, but, not comfortable for many people.
It's weird because, I mean, just the method of transportation, let's just say. Like, that's what you came up with. It's like, on one hand, it's laughable. Like, really? This is what you're doing?
Okay,
what makes it...
We're getting way ahead of ourselves. Like,
I'm sorry.
I just think that particular element of the show does deserve a wholesome conversation.
Scrutiny.
But let's save it till it actually happens, then we can discuss it. Because my issue is not with the what, it's the why.
No,
like there are legit questions I have about what the intention is at all for doing this. But the only
I say we get started.
I think we should enter our own butts and start looking out at the episode to see what we can see. Does that sound like a good intro to?
It sounds good.
Sounds appropriate. Before we do, the only notes for this one are apparently in production, like when it actually hit the screens. David Duchovny was erroneously credited in this episode. And it was removed.
Was he?
It was. And it was removed in the Blu-ray release. Probably what you saw didn't have it either. But when you saw it on TV, he got a credit. And of course, this is going to be the last appearance of Dr. Charles Burks, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah. I was going to save it for when we got there. But yes, this is his final appearance in the show. Until the actor comes back. But until season 10 and 11.
Not Charles Burks per se. All right, well, let's dive in, which I suppose is still appropriate.
I mean, I'll take it. Let's dive up.
We fade from black to a busy scene at a foreign airport, specifically Sahar International Airport in Mumbai, India. Old taxicabs wander past the departure gates, flagged down by all manner of people. The camera wanders in to bring us close to a man who stands out from the other Indians, an immensely obese older white man with thinning white hair, dressed in an equally large business suit. He emerges from his taxi and walks into the terminal. He's accosted by well over a dozen Indians in dire straits, each beseeching him for a donation. He walks past them all without emotion. With some contempt, he announces to the ticket agent that he, Mr. Pataki, is returning to America. Not a moment too soon, he says, a sneer on his face. As he wanders towards his gate, he hears a squeaking noise. A small beggar man, looking particularly emaciated, crawls behind him on a cart, dragging himself along with his ragged hands. Pataki sees him in what could be described as charity. He hands the beggar a small amount of change, inviting the beggar to go buy himself some WD-40.
Poor bastard.
The beggar watches Pataki walk off while dropping the coins from his hand onto the floor. Later, Pataki reads a paper while on the john. Suddenly, he hears the familiar creaking of wheels and looking up, sees the cart and some of the beggar from underneath a stall. Annoyed, he chides the beggar.
Listen, fella, I already gave.
This doesn't deter the beggar, who remains there. Doesn't he understand English? Pataki goes to get up, but is pulled to the ground by an impossibly strong force, screaming as he goes, dragged out of the stall. We cut quickly to a plane coming in for a landing at Dulles International in Washington, D.C. A porter shows Pataki to his room, trying to make small talk for a tip, but Pataki is uncharacteristically silent. Pataki ignores the small talk as the porter goes to leave without a tip, spinning a wheel on Pataki's unusual cart, which now forms part of his luggage. Pataki sits on the edge of his bed, looking out to a space only he can see. The music intensifies with some jungle notes, as blood seems to seep out of his body onto the bed. As the camera turns around him, streams of blood are pouring out of him, his mouth agape as he stares at nothing, and we finally note that his eyes are blood red as we fade to credits.
Oh, boy.
All right. Here's your chance. Tell me everything that happened.
Interesting. We don't know yet what's going on.
Yeah.
But I will say, Mr. Pataki, played by Calvin Remsburg, I don't know, but I kind of want to know what the casting call was for that. We need someone massive.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether to feel good or bad for him about that. I feel like that's unfortunate to be. That's the reason you're cast, is because you are a giant man. But so far, I think the episode is interesting. I'm intrigued to see where this goes, Andrew. I don't know exactly what happened to the man.
No? Really?
You know,
You haven't figured it all out from this point in the episode?
haven't figured it all out.
You know it's the beggar, though. You know he's the bad guy already.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll give it this. It is creepy. Absolutely creepy.
Yes.
Just the squeaky wheels and the stare. That's creepy.
They're laying the groundwork for the bad guy. To your point, I agree. I think it's a question. I mean, I'm looking at it through modern eyes. In 2000, it probably would have been an interesting little fun bit that they had there. They get to make plenty of jokes about Pataki's size and, you know, he's a big guy or whatever, and lying about his weight on the form, or all that stuff. But as we find out later on in the episode, there's no reason that the character has to be that large. It's not like his size is somehow more beneficial to the villain.
Apparently it's supposed to be. That's the thing. It's like, apparently that means there's more room.
Accommodation. Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
That's the implication. Maybe I'm making that up, but I think that's the implication.
Well, it doesn't seem to matter because that guy gets into everything, and it doesn't seem to have a problem getting around. What it does for him is not made clear, but yeah, they made a choice. They stuck with it. I mean, it's different. I'll give it that. I don't know if it makes it better.
Right.
All right, well, after the credits, we come back to the crime scene of the Belmont Hotel. Mr. Pataki's room, we assume. Doggett and Scully are investigating this unusual death. Doggett gives Scully the rundown. Pataki was laid over from his trip home, laid over in D.C., when all of his blood drains out of his body. The Emmy has ruled out hemorrhagic fever, Ebola, anything exotic. There's no forced entry, and the maid found the body 20 minutes after a bellman left Pataki here. So whatever happened fast. Doggett did find something the cops missed initially, a small bloody handprint. A bit of back and forth about using kids for crime, and the two have a hard time believing a child did this. Which I'm just getting now is a little bit of foreshadowing to the end. You sort of see the connection there?
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough.
See it.
I don't think that you remember this moment when we get to the end, but having seen it a couple times now.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, we cut to Fairmont Elementary School in Cheverly, Maryland, as Mrs. Holt, a school administrator, interviews Mr. Berard for the open position of a maintenance engineer, a janitor, I think we would say. She's pleased that Burrard, a boring-looking man, and his wife is... Sorry, did you say something?
No, I was saying maintenance engineer is the most politically correct way to say janitor.
Who says we haven't come far in the 2000s?
Maybe not politically correct, but the way to make them feel the most important they can feel.
Listen, I don't doubt that at Fairmont Elementary School, you get a pretty good living wage working as a maintenance engineer.
Maintenance engineer. Sure.
Well, she's pleased that he can start immediately. The camera shifts back to Burrard, and we see it's not him at all, but rather the legless Indian beggar. For some reason, Mrs. Holt doesn't see the beggar, but a boring-looking white man. A plot point I'm sure will cause us no end of trouble later on. So, what's going on here, Mike? Why can't she see our legless Indian beggar villain?
Magic.
I think this is Pusher Part 3. He can just put a little yellow slip of paper on his vest that says janitor. And she's like, oh, janitor.
Yes. Pass in the lapel.
Yeah. I think that'd be the
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, he's obviously working some magic on her to see what she wants to see.
Yeah.
And help him further his agenda.
Whatever that agenda is. That is going to be
whatever it is.
All right, we cut to an autopsy being conducted by Scully with Doggett coming in to visit. Scully is up to her elbows in Mr. Pataki, and we get all the exposition we need.
Big fella, isn't he?
Big is a relative term, Agent Doggett. It took 3 strong men to wheel him in here. He tipped the scale at 402 pounds.
Pataki was a big man, big appetites. Loved big cars, big houses, big business. Divorced twice. Carried 2 alimonies, one with child support. Never missed a payment. In fact, he seems to have spoiled his wives and kids.
I'm missing the point.
Seems he loved big women, too. Considering the evidence and motives, we can probably rule out his ex-wives as suspects.
Well, considering what I found here today, I'd say I have to agree. Tissue damage. Massive trauma to the lower intestine and the rectal wall.
Is that from something going in or coming out?
Well, unfortunately, there's so much damage that it's hard to tell. I took MRIs, which reveal further shredding throughout the abdomen and into the stomach area.
India's a major transit point for the Golden Triangle. This guy flew in and out of India 6 times over the past 18 months.
Are you suggesting that he's a mule? A courier of heroin or opiates? Drug dealer?
Fills a latex balloon with heroin, swallows it. We've all seen this kind of thing before. But what if somebody got to him en route, forcibly extracted the drugs, tearing it from his stomach?
No, that's a good theory, Agent Doggett, not to mention a graphic one. But there would have been traces left of drugs in his system. Nor does it account for the blood loss that this man experienced.
And we're right back where we started. Nobody knows anything.
Not exactly. I ran a decay analysis to determine the time of death. Liver temperature, buildup of gases, extent of rigor, routine stuff. It's not 100% accurate, but it gives us a range.
What's the range?
24 to 36 hours.
Well, that's just wrong.
It would mean that Mr. Pataki here would have died before he left Bombay.
No, it would mean that a dead man boarded a plane in India, changed planes in Paris, hailed a cab at Dulles, and then checked into a downtown hotel and tipped the bellman. In my experience, dead men don't tip, Agent Scully.
I told you to keep an open mind.
Sum up, Pataki had massive trauma to his lower intestine, rectal wall, and stomach. Doggett thinks maybe Pataki was a drug mule, drugs forcibly removed from his stomach. Scully's determined Pataki died 24 to 36 hours ago rather than the single day, and it's also worth noting the 2 script problems so far. 1, Scully calling the city Bombay rather than Mumbai, which changed its name 5 years before the episode. And 2, Doggett notes that Pataki tipped the bellman, which he clearly did not. I'm assuming you noticed those points.
Yeah. I was more focused on the method of entry and what they're suggesting here.
It really filled in the blanks for you on that opening credit sequence, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, this is like, oh boy. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be an interesting X-Files episode. Not because Scully mispronounced the city.
No, that's a big point.
The man didn't tip.
That's a big one. But, those are big ones.
Those are big ones. No. The mystical legless man hides in people's butts.
Okay. I do want to get into that,
we're good.
but I'm going to introduce a bit more of his powers right now. Back at Fairmont Elementary, terrible kids are being terrible kids. Trevor, local bully, decides to pick on Quentin, local soft ass, knocking him off his scooter. Luckily, Quentin's father's nearby, who intervenes, sending Trevor packing with his bully buddies. As Quentin and his father leave in their car, we see Mr. Berard, the new janitor, working near the bicycle rack. A quick camera shift, and we're reminded that this is, in fact, the legless beggar sitting on his platform, unseen by all. All right, Mike, the time has now arrived. It's time to throw for a power recap. What are the superpowers of this legless beggar villain?
Well, walking is not one of them.
That doesn't stop him. He can roll through airport security like a champ.
Yeah. It is a little questionable. So we've got hallucination. Essentially, he projects an image that people want to see or that he thinks they want to see.
Yeah, you do the old whammy
hide
on
himself, which that itself raises a whole bunch of flags for the rest of the episode. But
yeah,
he hides in people's colons somehow. He shuffles his way in there.
Yeah, hangs out, and he steers them like a puppet. He's able to control them like. He's driving them because that's what he does with Pataki.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. He takes control of someone's body.
So it's an interesting
Is that it?
Power set. Maybe he'll have something later, but for now, that's what we got. And I guess
I don't know what to think of this guy.
We can summarize these powers as magic. Like these are incredible feats of body manipulation and mind manipulation. And it's, Chuck Burke identifies it as the power of the fakir, the amazing Indian mystic. So, I mean, we haven't seen it before.
Right.
Good on you, John Chabon, for bringing it to us as an episode throw. But,
I would argue we have seen it before.
Oh, okay. I mean, we've seen it in...
Not the mysticism, not the actual power, but what he does. Obviously, hallucinations, making people see what they want to see.
Yeah.
Utilizing that to your advantage. Yes, we've seen that before.
Yeah. Arguably better, too.
Right now, my biggest concern, even the first time watching this, is like, okay, I'm on board with the story so far. Like, it's weird, it's disgusting, it's funny. But at the base of this is a legless man wheeling himself around on a piece of plywood. How does he get around the way that he does? I don't know. I feel like the wheels would give him away because he would have to hallucinate or project his image to everyone in the area.
Yes.
Somehow. Which also apparently includes affecting their hearing. So he can appear as a man walking into the school to apply for a job. But I'm thinking about it way too hard. I know this is your territory. It's just a little strange to me that he can just do whatever he wants. If he can do whatever he wants to do, if his power is that strong, why even need the colons of other people?
Why confine yourself to a terrible cart chair?
Right.
Do
if you can wheel around everywhere
with your amazing mystical power.
I don't know. It just seems strange.
It is, but that's the bed that John Chabon has made here, and so that is what we're going to go with.
Darn you, John Chabon.
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
So we're back at the FBI HQ now as Doggett hangs up from an international call to New Delhi. 3 weeks ago, an American businessman was found dead inside his hotel room under suspiciously similar circumstances. Also, Mike, there's a 33-pound discrepancy in weight before and after his death. Scully decides to use Mulder's superpower to fill in the blanks.
Yeah. As was our DC victim. All the better for accommodation.
Accommodation.
Well, something has to account for the weight gain, Agent Duggan. What if whatever it is that killed these men entered and exited them of its own free will? I mean, something small, with small hands, living inside the victims as a stowaway of sorts.
You know I agree that having an open mind is important to crime solving, but this theory of yours requires an openness that I'm just not comfortable with.
I understand, Agent Doggett, and I can't prove it. But I bet that if we had weighed Hugh Pataki when he first arrived here from Bombay, that he would have been 33 pounds heavier than his corpse.
It's a theory, Agent Scully, but to my mind and pretty much the rest of me, it doesn't work.
I appreciate your resistance. But so far, this evidence supports it.
Except one thing. Even if there was something living inside of Hugh Pataki when he arrived here from Bombay, you said that Mr. Pataki was already dead.
So Doggett's not comfortable with butt stuff. That is the big takeaway from that scene.
It's okay. You just got to ease into it.
Yeah. No problem, Doggett. It's just the beginning of the new millennium, and no one expects you to get woke just yet.
I'm not gay.
I do like Scully's presentation of those facts. It is so...
Yes.
First of all...
Gentle.
It is gentle, but it is also her delving in a way that Mulder would have done. You know, like what if?
Yes.
Theorizing. She never would have done that. She would be the one to be tearing down that stuff. So clearly we've got the role reversal between Doggett and Scully in this moment. But it is going to, and I'm sorry, it's going to come full circle by the end of this.
Oh boy.
When she recognizes that she is no Mulder in this situation. But yet in this moment she is, because she is positing the theory, which is of course the truth. So
yes.
Anything on that before we move on?
No, I think it is a good scene between them. And there are moments where they go back and forth throughout the season and whatever, the next season as well. But, you know, she is approaching this a little bit more delicately than I think maybe she would in other circumstances. She knows how ridiculous this sounds, but she is a scientist and she is going to go where the evidence takes her. Where I think Doggett is, he's also a very big man on science and facts, but his mind just can't get him here. So she eases it in like a something going into a butt.
Yeah,
she
she's
eases
very,
it in.
very slow and gentle as she
Very
eases
delicate
it in there.
the first time.
Yeah.
Yes. So
It's his first time,
But
so
yeah,
he's
so,
gentle.
you know.
It's good stuff. All right.
very gentle about it. I like it.
It's now Cheverly, Maryland, late at night. Camera tracks through a dark house, lazily ending in the bedroom of young bullied Quentin. We hear the familiar squeak of an unoiled caster, which wakes Quentin. Looking over, he sees the reflection of the legless beggar on his cart in the mirror. Quentin screams and screams for his father, who is there in a heartbeat like a good dad. Quentin tells his father the legless intruders, but when Dad's arrived, the legless man has disappeared. Dad reassures Quentin that his dreams can't hurt him, and despite being the world's #1 dad, the music tells us that nothing good is going to come of this. Dad walks back down the stairs to go on watching his show, and I'm surprised producers didn't throw another Fox cutaway on here. The camera travels over Dad's shoulder to end on the legless beggar in the background watching Dad. Back to Quentin, who hears a strangled scream from his father and bolts out of bed. But looking down from the second floor to the living room, Dad seems to be just fine. Watching his stories on the TV, Quentin walks down to examine his father, seeing with horror that his father's eyes are filled with blood. We cut to commercial. Okay, second death, Mike. Now we're getting going.
Yep. The bodies are stacking up. I mean, it is creepy.
Oh, hella creepy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is disgusting.
It has no relevance whatsoever other than apparently this legless beggar villain hates Americans.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all he's got.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to come back to the house the next morning. Our agent's there investigating because now it's a crime scene. Doggett takes it hard, empathizing with Quentin. They relate what Quentin saw last night and told the cops. More bloody kid palm prints and no more answers. But Quentin was able to see a munchkin, and there's none of the horrendous damage to the body that they found in the previous victims. Then it hits Scully. Maybe the bloodshot eyes, maybe that's just the first stage, and Scully rushes out. My point there would be, why does she go off alone? You know, you got a theory, you want to be right. Why don't you be like, Doggett, come with me on this one. I need backup because you're my freaking partner.
It would be an option to say, hey, I've got a theory. This has been crazy so far.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you join me to either confirm or get me off this track?
I think I'm going to see something
think you'd
dangerous.
want to join.
Let's maybe go and do it together. But it's not how it's written, so it's not what happens. We cut back to her in the autopsy room, breathing hard as she looks at the covered corpse of Quentin's father. The man's belly is horribly distended, like a pregnancy. Uncovering him, we see it's unnaturally swollen. Scully begins, as she calls it, an unauthorized procedure on Quentin's father. However, not going to have any consequences for doing that. You know, that's just what happens. Gloving up, she dictates what she's doing, adding that the man's weight might soon be subject to change, as she picks up a scalpel and begins to cut into the giant belly. Soon enough, an entity inside the man's corpse begins to push out from the belly near where Scully made her cut. Horrified, she backs off, knocking her gun away. She sees tiny hands begin to extend out of the belly as she wanders away to find her gun, but when she returns to cover the monstrosity, it's too late. The stomach cavity is empty, a mass of gore with a blood trail extending over the side and sliding out of the morgue. She slowly follows the blood trail, and we're rewarded with a jump scare as the phone rings. She continues to follow the trail to a closet marked hazardous materials. Flinging open the door, she sees nothing, walking away to search the rest of the morgue. Again, a quick camera move, and we see what she did not. The legless beggar, covered in blood, sitting on the floor of the closet. All right.
Yikes.
So that was gross, but cool, I think.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great scene.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that she's kind of suspicious of what's going on here. She has an idea of what's happening, and then the hand reaches out of the stomach. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
It's brilliantly practical and easy. Well, I mean, it is, I think, as often I do in these cases, it is a flagpole moment of the episode. You know, John Schmott thought, okay,
Absolutely.
This is going to happen probably near the middle, and we're going to work around that.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
It is at this point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
At this point, I have to find myself asking the question, and it takes me all the way back. It takes me back to at least season 2. Host, when the fluke worm came out of the guts, right?
Yep.
I think Scully, and I'm sure there's a law against this or something, or protocol, something. Given how much stuff happens to her in autopsy bays, I would employ the use of a video camera.
Oh, yeah.
And this would have been one of those moments where she could have benefited from that.
You know what would have benefited her?
You will never believe
Having
what happened.
Her partner with her.
That too.
You know what else?
That too.
What else probably would have benefited? Like, thank goodness she put plastic gloves on, but a mask might have been a good idea. She's about to cut into this horrendous abstention on this guy's belly.
Well, it couldn't possibly be toxic.
No, it's probably fine.
I mean, she's fine. She's fine.
All right. It must also be asked at this point, Mike, do you have a sense of why the beggar is killing in this way? Like, I get it for the transit from India to America. Like, that made sense. But to continue on. Like, this is victim number 2.
You fuck my son, I fuck you. That's what he's thinking.
Yes. I mean, I guess it is a
Literally,
pathology that they're trying to illustrate, to say this is the power this guy has. But I don't, they don't really go into why. They don't have the time to.
He's sadistic. It's like David in Covenant, Alien Covenant, and Prometheus. You know, he fucks with the black oil to create the xenomorph. And it's not enough that the black oil itself kills humans and deforms them. He doesn't unleash it that way. He perfects it into an organism that mouth fucks them to death and births a creature from them. It's sadistic. It's inspired, but nonetheless unnecessary.
But it also takes time. Like,
absolutely.
Like, why? Why does he have to be in there for so long? It's helpful for the plot. You know, it allows us to have this scene, but I don't think it makes much sense. And I don't really need it.
Unfortunately.
I don't really need it to make sense because it's not actually the worst part of the episode. So
it's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
We're going to cut back to Fairmont Elementary, and Mrs. Holt is dressing down Mr. Burrard, who didn't show up to work this morning. Reliability is one of the most important parts of this job. Burrard pulls a squeaky bucket on wheels and a mop from his supply closet, getting to work. Bully Trevor rounds the corner, noticing the janitor, but his vision is strange, and it seems Burrard's appearance seems to be phasing in and out. Looking closer, Trevor sees Burrard's face phase briefly into that of the beggar's. The bell rings, and the spell is broken. Of course, as it's this episode's number 1 trick, the camera shifts, and for the, 5th time, we are rewarded with the legless beggar on his cart.
Yes.
I'm done with that camera trick, but I think they have a point to make. In case you had forgotten, in case you had walked away to get some chips from the kitchen, you get to come back and see this happen. Oh, he's the bad guy.
He's the bad guy. It's the little scooter dude.
What? It was him all along? Okay. We're going to cut now to Dr. Charles Burks in what will unfortunately be his last appearance, showing Scully a video of an Indian fakir, masters using self-torture to attain enlightenment.
Well, I'm embarrassed to admit, but I'm not sure I know what the heck's going on here.
These ascetic masters, they have abilities.
Oh, absolutely. And abilities similar to those you told me about on the phone have been ascribed to what are known as Siddhi mystics. The Siddhi are a very mysterious and particularly powerful order of fakirs. These Siddhi, they pass on their secret practices from father to son, gaining occult powers with each generation.
What kind of powers?
Powers of the mind. Powers that help them manipulate reality. Powers that allow them to become invisible or tiny as an atom.
Well, I hope they're tiny, where whoever it is going.
Chuck, could one of these city mystics make you believe that he vanished in a room when in fact he's standing right in front of you?
Totally. Or disguise themselves, appearing in front of you as, virtually anyway.
With a parting shot that Burks isn't impressed with Doggett's skepticism, we cut to Quentin's house. Trevor has come to visit to try and mend fences. After some initial scuffle, Trevor offers an apology, which Quentin seems to accept. Trevor then tells him he thinks he knows who did it. And we cut to commercial. All right, you got anything you want to say about our friend Dr. Charlie Burks?
A good scene. I enjoy his presence, but I also enjoy his insight. It's very foreboding. I would say that the level of danger has been increased just by talking to him. So I do like that. He's very direct about it and very like, this is a problem. This guy is very powerful if this is what you're dealing with. So I like that. And I do appreciate that he's unimpressed with John Doggett, but at the same time, comes off as a little unfair to Doggett because he wasn't that way with Scully.
That's fair. Yeah, I think it's an allegory for what the relationship between Mully and Sculler was and what Doggett and Scully are becoming. A little bit of a callback to essentially say, this guy's not Mulder. That's the subtext for what Briggs is saying.
I don't trust him. He's not Mulder.
He's not Mulder.
I hate him.
Well, that
would have been a good place to take Chuck Briggs.
Oh, God, yeah. Why not have...
I would have appreciated if he just had this childish hatred of Doggett.
Yeah, that would have been good. All right, we come back to Scully at Mulder's desk, going over a literal ton of paperwork. Burks has come to call, and Scully is trying to see it the way that Mulder would. So this is our callback to Mulder. Scully can't equate the opposition between the powers of a Sidhe mystic and the abhorrent nature of the crimes being committed. What would cause such a man to break his faith and use his powers for evil? Revenge? Scully supplies a possible cause for the narrative. An American plant outside of Mumbai released a cloud of methyl isocyanate gas that killed 118 people in a small town called Vichy. One of the victims was an 11-year-old boy whose father was a holy man of the Chamar caste, the beggar caste. Could it be, Mike, that this guy is out for revenge? Why is he killing the people he's killing? We'll never know.
Never know?
No, never know. Back with Trevor, who's walking home from school. Trevor hears a squeaking wheel, but sees nothing. We have a long, tense moment as Trevor knows he's being followed. He runs and runs, squeaking, following behind him, and the beggar follows him, and he bolts into the house, smashing to his mother. Trevor runs outside to the exclamation of his mother, "Dinner's on the table!" and she follows him outside to get him. But with horror, she sees his body lifeless at the bottom of the outdoor pool. She dives in to get him, turning his body over, and then suddenly it's the beggar, all too alive. We crash cut to the woman, now dead on a slab, her eyes red with blood. Body is being covered up by Doggett, a gurney taking her away in an ambulance. Scully connects with Doggett to catch up with the facts. Doggett's as lost as we are. Doggett doesn't buy the connection. The facts don't line up for him. She's asked him to keep an open mind. She'll admit that it's hard to accept what's happening. He'll find the reason, but not working like he's used to. Doggett leaves and Trevor takes the opportunity to come back. Scully introduces herself, starting to tell him about the tragedy that's unfolded, but Trevor beats her to the punch, telling her that the little man was here. He did this. And we cut to commercial. Okay, there was a whole lot that happened there. Mike, do you have any thoughts on that?
There's a lot. He is up to shenanigans, man. This guy gets around and he is just taking out people willy-nilly. I don't know what to believe in this moment here. I feel like there is some serious inconsistencies here.
I kind of wish that these two families, that their parents worked for the chemical plant. I mean, it's not great. It would give me some cause for like, okay, that's why he's revenging himself upon it.
And that's what you expect.
I know.
But
nothing. There's nothing there.
Nothing.
We don't get anything.
Oh boy.
I mean, this guy could do a lot of damage and kill a lot of Americans if he really wanted to. But
absolutely.
He's picking and choosing and hiding in plain sight. Like it reminds me of good old season 2 episode Fire, where our fire using bad guy is sort of picking off people for no great reason and choosing the timing for no great reason, but it's good for the plot the way he does it. Makes it kind of spooky. That's what we got here.
Wait, are you talking about Cecil Lively?
I am.
Cecil, that is season 1.
Oh, well, thank you for correcting me. I needed that.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, if you've got nothing else, we'll continue on. I'm
I think I'm with you. I think it's just a matter of being confused as to what he's doing and why it's so haphazard. Like, this doesn't seem very coordinated. Well, it seems coordinated, it just doesn't seem well thought out, is the best I can say.
The worst part is the plot goes to great lengths to give us people to care about who the villain then threatens. And you need that for us to care. Otherwise, if he's just killing random people, that's a different kind of show. And it wouldn't be a bad show. It would just be different. In this case, though, they've created a scenario where, the parents of our two kids have been killed, one each. And so now they're going to be under threat. So the villain has taken a particular interest in them, again, for no great reason that we can ascertain. Scully provides us one with the information she's found out about Vichy. So there's an anger there. There's a revenge there. But why not exact it on the people that live in Mumbai, where the plant is? Why did they have to come to America to do it in small town Maryland? Other than it's closer to where the FBI is, and thus, our agents get involved. There's some reasons. So yeah, inconsistencies. I think that's all I got to say about that.
Yep.
Okay.
Agreed.
Let's get into it. So we're back with Doggett, looking in on Berard, the janitor, presumably being held for interrogation on the word of little Trevor. Berard stares out, emotionless, looking at nothing. Chuck Burks arrives, called in by Scully, and setting up a tripod. Berard doesn't speak to anyone. Scully left after 4 hours of trying to talk to him. Doggett is close to releasing him, but confused as to why Burks is setting up a camera. Burks calls Doggett back, breathless with excitement. Looking at the camera screen, we see that while Berard appears to be there in real life, the camera shows that no one is in the room at all. Doggett thinks it's a trick, but for once he's confronted with actual proof and comes to drink it all in. If Berard's not there, he could be anywhere. Where could he be? So, another good moment in the show. I do like it. I do like that they brought Burks in to do a thing that worked. And again, I think John Chabon sort of saw this as a moment he wanted to showcase. Like, what if, because we've seen that before with Pusher, where he has the ability to put the whammy on people, but you can't trick the camera. I do like that they bring that in.
Right. Mm-hmm. It is a nice scene between him and Doggett. And Doggett gets to partake in the craziness. It's looking at the room where a man is clearly sitting in it, but the camera is showing nothing.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. I think he's like, come on, trick of the camera, right?
Yeah.
No, sir.
And it's wonderful because you can't actually use the recording on that camera as evidence, You could have their physical report saying, here's the accompanying data, but now it's like, Burks and Doggett, you guys are the ones who are crazy. So, yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff.
All right, we cut to Scully over at Trevor's house. She's come to talk to Trevor. She speaks with Trevor's father, who lets her in. Suddenly, a phone call from Doggett, who lets her in on the secret about Berard. Trevor's dad comes back. Trevor is not in his room. Scully asks Doggett, what do you mean he's not there? Referring to Berard, I think. Back to Fairmont Elementary, Mrs. Holt is talking with her secretary when she hears the telltale squeak of the beggar's cart. But it's only Mr. Berard pushing his squeaking mop bucket past him. Holt is a little confused as to why Berard is back. And after he passes by, she pulls out Scully's card, deciding that Berard is acting just a little bit too creepy. So she gets her secretary to call Scully. Outside, Quentin follows Berard, hiding as he goes, walkie-talkie in hand. He signals Trevor that the beggar is coming. You see the beggar open a storage closet, reaching for something, but from the top shelf, Trevor lets fly a giant glass container of acid, which smashes harmlessly on the ground, seemingly missing the beggar completely. Trevor jumps down, looking for the beggar, but he can't find him. Outside, Quentin arrives, only to be confronted by the beggar, which looks at him honestly. Quentin turns and runs, tearing down the stairs, which you'd think would be an effective deterrent to flee from a guy in a cart, but it's not. Quentin locks himself in a classroom, checking the windows, looking for a way to escape. He sees the door handle turning when Trevor appears at the window, jump scare, urging him to escape, but it's too late. The beggar has opened the door and wheels himself ever closer to Quentin, who is rooted to the spot. Trevor flees to get help, and as the beggar is almost upon Quentin, the door opens again. Scully and Mrs. Holt arrive. They see Trevor and Quentin in the room, but Quentin begs Scully to do something. It's him, he cries. It's the little man. Scully peers at Trevor, pulling her gun, aiming at Trevor, who walks slowly and creepily towards Scully. As Quentin begs Scully to shoot Trevor, she can't. Little boy. Doggett pulls up outside, getting out of his car, and hears 2 shots ring out. He rushes inside. Mrs. Holt can't believe what she's seen. Scully shot Trevor. Scully can't believe it either. But as everyone reels in the horror of the moment, eventually Doggett and Mrs. Holt see the truth. It's the body of the beggar, bleeding out on the ground. Woo! That's a big scene. Would you like to catch up to that? Tell me what you thought of that whole action masterpiece.
I think it's a good little capper on the episode. I like the chase. I like the intensity of it. I believe this is a good part of the episode where we're at the end of the episode. There's going to be a climax of danger and what's going to happen with Scully. I do kind of like the inner struggle with Scully as she's aiming her gun at a child.
Yeah.
That's obviously, she doesn't believe it's a child, but she doesn't know because that's what it's appearing to her as. And she has to pull the trigger on essentially a child. So I can imagine that would be traumatic. So it's a great moment for her, but kind of wasted in the sense that this episode is strange and just weird. It would be different if like she knew this kid or it was presenting itself as someone she knew, or there was a more coherent episode behind it.
Yeah.
That might have a little bit more emotional weight. At this moment, I understand it and I feel for Scully, but not 100% earned to get Scully to cry at the end. I don't think this scene really fits the nature and the mood of the episode. That's just me.
I'm with you there. We're kind of getting into final thoughts, so maybe I'll wrap it up before we come back into that. But I'm there with you that I don't think it hangs well together. But we're going to cut to our epilogue. Number 1, police cars and ambulance in attendance outside the school. Scully's a wreck, believing she shot a young boy. Doggett tries to be supportive, but he wasn't there. He tries to cheer her up. You were, in fact, wrong. But it was what she saw. Does he know what it's like not being able to trust his own eyes? Then we have a little bit, which I think is good from Scully's POV.
Sure.
It's a powerful moment, reminding us how fragmented Scully is without Mulder. We fade out from the scene, coming back for epilogue number 2. Back in Mumbai airport, another American businessman pushes through the crowd, trying to get to his flight. And because some writers just can't bear to kill their villains, we end with a close-up on the same legless beggar waiting to begin the cycle all over again. And that, Mike, is the end of this episode. Time for us to debate and discuss.
So was he ever there?
Yeah, exactly right. Did he just put his form into the guy to send over to America and cause some chaos? Superpower number 4?
Am I right there? He didn't get sent back to India, right?
I'll admit I've given up caring at this point. I know what this scene is, and it is, frankly, a little bit shameful that John Chabon put it in here, because you see it in other writers, mostly contract writers, not the staff of the show, where they have a villain and they give him
right,
an epilogue which suggests that they might come back sometime. This is not the end of their story, that they're still out there somewhere. And I don't find those ever very satisfying. Cecil Lively in his little hyperbaric chamber saying, "I'm just dying for a cigarette." It's that level of wink to the camera.
Yeah, not great. I mean, this episode is just weird. And while I can appreciate Scully's emotional monologue at the end of the episode, and I really do, I think it's a good moment for her, I just don't tie it to this episode. It's something that she has struggled with, being the believer. I get that. We've seen hints at it throughout the first few episodes of season 8, but we haven't really seen anything to push her over the edge quite like this. Like she's been struggling with it the whole time. And this very much feels like she has been just losing sleep at night, and she's not able to come at these cases like she should, you know, to approach them the way Mulder would. And it's really affecting her because she's just not the person for it. I don't see that struggle leading up to this. And then to throw this kind of an emotional scene into an episode that really is not great.
It didn't need it.
It just doesn't feel right.
Well, you know what?
Great scene.
But you know why it's there though? Because, you know, John Chabon's got some pull. He can weave in some extra plot narrative. You know, bring in the Mulder factor. And it's good juice for the character of Scully to chew on. So it's not terrible. I think you're right in that. It's just, it doesn't have any place in this episode.
Yeah. I just don't see it. I think it's misused in this episode and should have been attached to maybe a mythology episode where she's the search for Mulder's on or something. I don't know. But that being said, it's a good scene. I enjoy the episode's grossness. I enjoy Chuck Burke's last hurrah for him. Yeah. But other than that, it is a strange fucking episode and doesn't completely at all make sense.
I agree with that. I'm going to give you my final thoughts, and then I want to talk a bit about a better ending and I think there's a bit more discussion we had on whether her belief that she's not the believer Mulder was, whether that's deserved. And maybe we've already gone there, but let me just start with my final thoughts, where we've got another conventional Monster of the Week episode. And as the Chris Carter himself tries to wrangle together another mythology to bind some episodes together. Obviously, I'm not in love with this one. I don't think either of us are. It's got some good elements. It's nice to see Chuck again, even if it's for the last time. But other than Scully and Doggett struggling to get through the plot with some powerful scenes between them, the thing that's missing for me is the motivation for the villain. Really, I don't need it spelled out for me. And the script does try to give us some breadcrumbs to follow: an American chemical plant killing a ton of villagers in India. So the Americans must pay. That's fine. But the indiscriminate killing, the unknown pathology behind the inhabitation of the corpses, what is it all for? Does it make the beggar more powerful? Is it how he feeds? If he is vengeful over the death of his 11-year-old boy, is it really likely he'd kill 11-year-olds Quentin and Trevor? It seems he's being evil for the sake of being evil, and I guess I just expect a little more from the show by this point, Mike.
Well, see, I agree with you, but at the same time, I would prefer him to, let's say, find the target or like the president of the company. He's somehow located this man who happens to have a young child, and he is determined to kill it. That would be something I would prefer this episode to have done.
That would bring us back to the episode with the dude with the weird eyes, and his daughter died, and he has the power to cast voodoo spells and stuff. What was that episode?
The weird eyes?
Oh, his eyes were inset, and it was this season. I don't know, it was last season.
Oh, last season. Okay, Thief.
Yes, Thief, exactly. It brings us into that territory where, you know, he's righteously seeking vengeance against somebody who has directly wronged him. So yes, if we had him tracking down the president of the company and getting his vengeance that way, we would be recycling that. But I'd prefer that, like you, compared to this seemingly random killing.
And I know we've had some fun with this, but I'm under the impression that these people are loosely tied to the company that caused the spill. I don't know that it's ever implicitly said, but that is really supposed to be the implication.
Yeah. I don't think the episode loses anything by mentioning that.
No, it would be nice if they made it a little bit more obvious, but
yeah,
whatever.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about was a potential way to make the episode better, because I think they had something there, and I found it really unsatisfying, the sudden arc of Scully being mortified for thinking she's shot a young boy. It's like, no, you've seen enough shit that if this kid's a threat, you'll take him down. You know, he's not acknowledging your order to stop. Shoot him in the leg, you know, if you want. You know, you got options. You don't have to go for the kill shot right away, but they needed to take it to there very quickly. So I think the better resolution is to come back to what Charlie Burks introduces with the video camera. And either he and Doggett show up and literally he's looking through the video camera saying, Scully, that's not a kid. And that gives her the okay to do the shot. Or there's already a camera in the classroom and it's showing them and she sees that, wait, it's not the boy over there. It's the beggar. And I'm going to shoot him. Something along those lines where she uses her ability. She uses her expertise as an agent, as a hero to vanquish the villain. But essentially she got lucky. You know, she chose to believe Quentin and that was what got her through. And then attributes it to Mulder, you know, thinking, well, Mulder would have seen it. Well, you don't know that. So they reach a bit to try and get an ending. And I think they could have done a better job.
Yeah. I'm just trying to piece together this ending in this episode. I don't know. Either way, Scully's screwed because she either really shoots a 11-year-old, 12-year-old boy, or as what happened here, he is revealed to be a legless man on a cart. And how do you explain that to your superiors?
Yeah, career over now that I think about it. What exactly?
She is fucked.
What were you doing with this man, Scully? Why did you?
So this guy posed what threat to you?
Well, knowing what we know about Kirsch now, he'll just be like, case is over. We're good.
We've got our man. I don't need every T crossed and I dotted. This guy without legs, he's clearly who we're looking for. So good on you, Scully.
Well, we couldn't deport him.
Here's another clip.
We couldn't deport him, so let's just kill him. Apparently, that's the solution, right? Oh, maybe a little too topical.
Oh.
Well, okay, well then, with that, the comedy stylings of Andrew out of the way, Mike, why don't I give you the final word? Because I think we have done more than enough that this episode deserves.
Yeah, we are good with this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, wear a butt plug because you never know who's going to try and crawl in your ass when you go traveling. And that's a good thing to remind myself because we are going to Alaska in a couple months. So I might need to invest. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at TINHXFilesPod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.